What's up, guys? Today we're going to talk about potential themes for Season 10. With 1984 over and done with, it is time to start speculating on what the theme for next season could potentially be. And before we get into the subject of today's video, I want to say I am well aware of all of the fan theories going on about what the potential theme is going to be. It's more likely that we're going to be seeing an urban legends type of season that's going to be dealing with a bunch of American urban legends, from Bigfoot to the aliens, while even pulling in stuff that we've already seen throughout the entire series thus far, like Little Piggy among others. Or it is possible that we're finally going to be getting that future set season. As Ryan Murphy recently talked about, while you can't do a season set entirely in space, you could potentially do something in the future dealing with aliens and even trying to connect some of the stuff that we've seen throughout the entire show thus far. Specifically, at least for my part of the fandom, wanting to go back to the alien storyline and focusing on a somewhat sequel, in a sense, to American Horror Story Asylum. And while I will admit that those are far more likely than the one that we're going to be talking about today, I have a couple of ideas and pitches for what I would like to see in future seasons of this show, especially if it goes past season 10. So with all of that being said, let's get into today's pitch: American Horror Story Idol. Hey everybody, before we get started on this, I decided to try my hand at a little bit of merchandise for the channel, so you can check it out in the description section below. Let's get into it. Hey YouTubers, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell over by the subscriber button to notify you every single time I upload. Now, it's literally no secret if you were to just even take a minute to look into the thousands of videos and internet postings about the supposed connection between some of the most popular artists, singers, movie stars, TV stars, celebrities, politicians, and just in general, anybody who has made a significant amount of money in American culture in modern day history, and the secret organization that supposedly controls everything that we hold dear in our day-to-day lives, the Illuminati. I can't tell you how many videos on the internet that I've seen focusing on Beyonce, Taylor Swift, the Clintons, the Trumps, the Bush family, and just in general, every single popular person in pop culture having some connection to the Illuminati, with theories that various television show creators even have some insight as to what's going to happen in the future. And that's why we see ominous predictions from things like The Simpsons or Family Guy that seemingly point to an inevitable reality in our day-to-day lives. I mean, just to be clear here, people have insinuated that Matt Groening, the creator of The Simpsons, willfully left clues of future events in our society by showing the election of Donald Trump, while Seth MacFarlane from Family Guy not only gave hints of the Boston Marathon bombing, but also the tragic death of Paul Walker with the death of Brian Griffin. And the craziness of all of this doesn't even end there. If you were to look through this, even for a second, you would find yourself in an endless hole of different concepts and speculations and theories about almost every single person that you've ever known or grown up with or idolized in any single way in your entire existence, having some legitimate connection to this secret organization. And if you were to just take the time, I'm not telling anyone else to do this, but if you just really were to sit down one night and look through it, you would find yourself entertained by everything and starting to think the worst case scenarios about everything in our entire world. Even still, these concepts are so ingrained into our social consciousness that it's not unlike American Horror Story has never touched upon it before. In American Horror Story Apocalypse, Season 8 of the show, we got introduced to the Cooperative, a privately owned and rebranded concept of the Illuminati that were themselves the visionaries of the post-apocalyptic future that was led by Michael Langdon. These were the individuals that purchased the underground buildings that we saw during the first 3 episodes and last episodes of the 8th season of the show. And they're the ones who built the network of rules and responsibilities for all of the outposts that we heard about throughout that season. But even though that's the case, we do not know a whole lot about the organization right now in terms of American Horror Story history. We don't know a whole lot about the Cooperative or what it is that they control in our day-to-day lives. And given the ending of American Horror Story Apocalypse and the amount of fans who want to revisit that storyline and figure out what happens next, I feel like it would be beneficial to do a season sometime in present day that focuses primarily on the Cooperative or the Illuminati, whatever you want to call them. But in reality, I realized that it couldn't be so straightforward. You couldn't cast people to play prominent political figures, and it wouldn't be the best storytelling position to just set up events that we have already seen as an audience that were shown in American Horror Story Apocalypse. Instead, one of the things I think the season could do to a very effective degree is focus on this modern day myth that our idols, our pop stars, our famous singers are the ones incorporated into this group and are helping shape the opinions and mentalities of all the young people today. One of the reasons I absolutely love this idea is that American Horror Story, for all of its flaws, has always, in its most artistic and influential times, expressed its need for showmanship. From Asylum's name game musical number to Freak Show's Elsa Mars musical performances to 1984's obsession with 80s pop stars. This series has a long-standing history with passion towards musical arts, and one that I personally believe could be fostered in the best sense possible by focusing an entire season on an American pop idol. One that can maybe comment on the lack of quality in terms of reality TV show that was brought to us by American Idol or maybe even The Voice. Focusing on a certain starlet who is brought up with a certain amount of talent, made famous on social media content, quickly pushed through a by-the-numbers reality TV show event, and faced with the decision to sell her soul to the devil in order to be popular for the rest of her life. This is a season that can grab onto some of the most popular real-world examples that people point to in all of their conspiracy videos and put them in a context that is definitely worth exploring and just fantastical enough to work in a really interesting way. At the same time, it can continue the story and tropes and ideas that were expressed in American Horror Story 1984, in which popular artists sell their souls to the devil in order to become popular in the first place. And if they want, by the end of the season, they can use the story to tie in to an inevitable last season in which we focus on the apocalypse yet again, but this time in the alternate history that was created at the end of the 8th season. But look, I have a lot of fun with these pitches. I like thinking about future possibilities for American Horror Story, but I am not the person who is paid to sit down and write them. I'm sure some of you listening right now think that that's a bona fide benefit for the series because you do not like any of my ideas, but every single thing that I put forward I think is worth exploring. When it comes to American Horror Story, unlike any other anthology horror series that we've seen pop up over the last decade, this series I think is always ripe for different ideas and wacky concepts that I really believe can explore issues like this. And if I'm being completely honest, if season 10 is not going to be the last one of the show, this would be a great exploration into a possible future space-centric season that focuses on the aliens that were introduced in American Horror Story Asylum. If there's any group that we've met in the entire history of American Horror Story that must know of the aliens and their impact in human history, it has to be the Cooperative. Given the fact that they were the ones who planned the apocalypse in the first place, and they made sure to save people with special DNA that many fans to this day speculate are part of the special children that were born from the aliens' experiments that we saw in American Horror Story Asylum. So a season like this, with the various concepts of popular culture being driven by the idealistic and even manipulative nature of the rich and powerful, would be an interesting story to explore. But as always, guys, I really want to hear your thoughts and opinions about this season's pitch in the comments section below. Is this something that you would love to see in the future of American Horror Story, or Do you think it's too self-referential and even too much on the nose for this series? I hope everyone is having a fantastic day. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, go down to the description section below, hit that link, and go follow me on Twitter. Because as I always say, when it comes to Twitter, it's so much easier to talk to you guys on that platform, talking about American Horror Story, the Saw franchise, just horror movies in general, whatever it is that you want to talk about. Even if you want to start a YouTube channel, I've had a lot of people come to me, especially after this last season, wanting to start their own content. And I greatly appreciate you guys coming to me asking for hints and advice and all this other stuff, because I feel like starting this stuff, talking about this stuff is so helpful for not only me, but probably you as well. So if you want advice or just in general, some motivation to get started with something that you've been wanting to do for a very long time, then I'm probably the person to go and follow and just talk to, because I want to help everybody. Hope everyone's having a fantastic day. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell over by the subscriber button to notify you every single time I upload. It's been real.